Oh, the hallowed halls of Metropolitan State University, St. Paul, where dreams are not so much shattered as they are gently, systematically dismantled by the cold hands of indifference and incompetence. Let me weave you a tale, dear listener, a chronicle of my sojourn through the academic purgatory that is Metro State. It began with such hope, such naivety. I, a bright-eyed ingenue, stepped onto the campus green, the crisp autumn air filled with the promise of knowledge and growth. But alas, the ivy-covered walls hid a secret so banal, so gut-wrenchingly mediocre, that it would slowly suffocate the light of curiosity within my once eager soul. In the beginning, the professors were but shadows, mere vessels of information, devoid of the passion that breathes life into the dusty pages of textbooks. It was in the upper echelons of academia, amidst the 400 and 500 level classes, where a glimmer of genuine concern for learning could be found. There, the professors' eyes sparkled with the fire of those who care, who understand that education is not merely the regurgitation of facts, but the ignition of a flame that burns with the desire to know more, to be more. But oh, how the mighty have fallen! Upon my return, the university had transformed, or rather, devolved into a caricature of its former self. A professor, a guide on this scholarly odyssey, abandoned ship a mere 4 weeks into our voyage, leaving us adrift in a sea of apathy. And financial aid, that elusive siren, sang a song of false promises, leading me to crash upon the rocks of bureaucracy. Switch to degree seeking, they said with a wave of their hand, as if changing a status were as simple as changing one's mind. I leapt through the hoops, dotted the I's and crossed the T's, only to be told at the 11th hour that my quest for financial succor was in vain. The rug of assistance was pulled out from under me, leaving me with naught but a credit card bill with an interest rate that could kindle the fires of hell itself. My advisor, the supposed beacon of guidance in this academic labyrinth, was as responsive as a sloth on a Sunday afternoon. 9 interminable days I waited for a morsel of advice, a crumb of direction. But silence was my only companion, save for the echoes of my own bewildered cries for help. The campus, a sprawling concrete jungle, boasted ample parking, a Sahara of asphalt that stretched on into the horizon. Yet even this was but a hollow victory, for what use is a parking spot when the education one seeks is as empty as the spaces left by those who have given up and walked away? The library, a tomb of silence and solitude, was not a sanctuary for the mind, but a stage for the raconteur of sorrow. Jennifer, the alabaster queen of the gaming committee, presided over her domain with a heart as cold as the marble floors of the institution she represented. I, a humble supplicant seeking camaraderie among the brotherhood of gamers, was met with scorn and derision. My black skin, a beacon of diversity, was seen as a blight upon their porcelain realm. The Asian students, complicit in this charade of inclusivity, turned a blind eye to the vitriol that spewed from the lips of their fair-skinned mistress. The classrooms, once the crucible of enlightenment, had become the factories of the mundane. Professors, those guardians of wisdom, taught from the text as if reading from the Necronomicon, their words as dry and lifeless as the pages from which they read. The diploma, the sacred parchment that was to be my ticket to the realm of the employed, proved to be as elusive as a mirage in the desert. The electronic version, a cruel joke, was as accessible as the meaning of life itself, leading me down a path of frustration and despair. And the text messages, oh, the relentless text messages. Like a lover scorned, Metro State begged for my money, my allegiance, my very soul. But I had already given at the office, and the cost was more than mere tuition, it was.
In the shadow of Metropolitan State University, St. Paul, the pulse of local commerce reveals a tale of discontent. As I meander through the streets, a mosaic of business experiences unfolds, each piece a fragment of a larger narrative that speaks to the heart of the community's economic landscape. The Maplewood Mall, once a bustling hub of activity, now stands as a relic of bygone days. The echoes of laughter and joy from a Halloween costume party linger, yet they are tainted by claims of unfairness and a lack of hygiene that would make even the most stoic health inspector cringe. The restrooms, Amber Lee sighs with sorrow, are a testament to neglect, with soap a mere myth in the realm of hand-washing. The mall, it seems, is in the throes of a midlife crisis, with stores closing down and a palpable sense of decay setting in. It's a far cry from the vibrant center it once was, and the rodents that now call it home are the unwelcome ushers of its decline. As we turn our gaze to Afro Deli Grill, the aroma of spices promises a culinary journey, but alas, it is one marred by disappointment. The gyro, a dish that should dance on the taste buds, instead performs a lackluster shuffle, with burnt offerings and a dearth of flavor leaving much to be desired. The sambusas, once the pride of the establishment, now suffer from an identity crisis, their dry, onion-laden innards a far cry from the delicate balance of flavors they should embody. It's a place where the hope of a good meal is overshadowed by the reality of dirty dining areas and staff who seem more interested in their phones than customer satisfaction. Cadence Records Coffee, a beacon for audiophiles and caffeine aficionados alike, struggles under the weight of poor service and health code violations that would make even the most lax patron squirm. Coffee cups, once symbols of comfort, are filled with disappointment rather than the rich, aromatic elixir of life. The staff, burdened by their own disinterest, fail to recognize the sanctity of the breakfast sandwich, treating it with the reverence of a fast food worker on their last day. It's a place where the music may soothe the soul, but the service will leave it yearning for something more. The Turf Club, a venue that should pulse with the energy of live performances, instead throbs with the pain of poor management and an apparent disregard for its patrons. The promise of a good time is overshadowed by aggressive security and a general sense of disorganization that leaves one questioning the club's commitment to customer experience. It's a place where the music may be loud, but the message it sends to its diverse clientele is louder still. You are not welcome here. Jenny in the City, a store that should sparkle with the allure of retail therapy, is dimmed by the shadows of unfulfilled promises and a customer service experience that leaves one feeling more manipulated than valued. The joy of a new purchase is soured by the sting of missing items and the bitter aftertaste of a guilt trip served with a side of indifference. W.A. Frost Company, a high-end establishment that promises an evening of elegance, instead delivers a masterclass in disappointment. The service is as frosty as the name would suggest, with staff who seem to have forgotten the art of hospitality. The food, which should be a symphony of flavors, plays a discordant tune, leaving diners to ponder the true cost of their meal. It's a place where the check is presented with a side of condescension, and the quest for a simple dessert becomes an odyssey of frustration. As I reflect on these establishments, I am struck by a profound sense of melancholy. The businesses surrounding Metropolitan State University, St. Paul, are not just places of commerce, they are the lifeblood of the community, the gathering spots for students and locals alike. Yet, in my travels, I have found that they often fall short of the mark, leaving a void where there should be vibrancy.
To the travelers who venture near this institution of higher learning, I offer this advice approach with cautious optimism, for the promise of a memorable experience is often eclipsed by the reality of negligence and poor service. Seek out.
I am looking into crimes near Metropolitan State University. St. Paul and I feel it is important to share what I have found because it can affect anyone staying for a short 2-week visit. Businesses near Metropolitan State University, St. Paul are sometimes presented as friendly local helpers, but some storefronts hide dishonest practices. One example is a small contractor office that advertised emergency repairs for leaks in apartments near the campus. A tourist who had just arrived discovered a water stain in the rental, called the contractor, paid over $4,000 for a quick fix, and the workers left after a single day without fixing anything. The victim probably called the police, tried to get a refund, and ended up losing the money while still dealing with the leak. The contractor likely faced a complaint from the city and may be prohibited from working again, but the tourist may have to find another repair service at additional cost. Businesses near Metropolitan State University, St. Paul are also known to use restaurant fronts as a cover for fraudulent billing. A popular diner close to the university accepted credit cards and then added extra charges for meals that were never served, targeting visitors who rely on cashless payments. The affected traveler probably checked the receipt, realized the mistake, and filed a dispute with the bank. The restaurant may have been investigated and could be fined or shut down, while the tourist might receive a partial refund but still miss a dinner they planned. Businesses near Metropolitan State University, St. Paul can even involve elderly visitors in large-scale scams. A storefront that pretended to sell travel accessories
convinced an older guest to pay $100,000 for a vacation package that did not exist. The elderly person most likely reported the loss to authorities, sought legal help, and may never see that money again. The scammers probably fled the area before law enforcement could catch them, leaving the victim with a painful reminder of how trust can be misused. Do you think it is surprising that these kinds of scams happen right near a university campus? I appreciate your attention because you are aware enough to question offers that sound too good to be true. It is sad that such dishonesty exists, but sharing these stories may help others avoid the same.